Yeah, I know the vibes, bro. I know the vibes. When we start here, yo, shit's about to go down, man. It's about to go down. Let's go. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cash, and today's video is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, doesn't contain any preservatives, and is 100% MFO. Today's video, obviously, by the title, by the title, you guys should know that we're here to break down Dragon Scale, and Dragon Wrath, which is just called Wrath. I just put Dragon in front of it because I'm nervous. So what I'm going to try to do is not have this be too lengthy of a video, because the explanation, the math part of it, I kind of want you guys to trust me a little bit on this. But of course, I went with my boy Tachibana. Again, we went through our shenanigans of setting up a certain contained field of nonsense so we can gather data so we can come to some type of conclusion. Long story short, for the people that like skipping through shit, yes, I mean, it's not even a spoiler, but yes, the attack down and the defense down does work. So we created a couple of situations in which we can gauge that, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's already pretty much said in the patch, so it logically makes sense. But what I want to do after that is to kind of explain how viable it is, how quickly or how often you can do it, and then of course, last but not least, explain characters that can actually benefit from the stuff, like you can actually utilize yourself. So within this first clip, there's a lot of zooming that I was using to try to like count numbers and things of that nature. And I'm going to show you guys. So what is the first thing that you guys should be able to see? So I have a full team here, and it's going against his solo FC Rara. So versus his solo FC Rara, we were starting to see, so we're actually screen sharing currently at the moment. This is my full team. It's Frankie, Anna, Baraka, Maggie, and Rudley. So throughout this trial here, I'll just play it. You guys will be able to hear some of the audio. Just don't laugh at our stupid banter. PvP team was still the same. Look at the random zooming. It doesn't matter. But so in these trials, what happens is that his FC Rara would actually, for some reason, always attack my Anna. Anna retaliates. He's a double ice machine. Interesting. So every time so boom, she gets, as you can see there, she's double ice. So when she gets hit by another ice character, she will break. And then the last one is machine, which Baraka is about to break right now. Stupid thing trying to adjust to where I'm trying to find the numbers. So now you can see that she's broken, right? And if you know how Wrath works, that Wrath now, because of the last balance that they did before this one, is that it doesn't trigger Dragon Blood or anything like that. So we safely know that right now, based on everything that just happened, is that she is at 1 stack. So she is at 1 Dragon Blood stat. Now she's about to be attacked. And then if you guys don't know how Dragon Blood works, it triggers the Wrath and the Dragon Scale after the hit. That's why you can nuke a Dragon Blood character or First Guardian. What are we deciding? Guardian or First Blood? I just mixed them. First Blood characters. So that's why it triggers afterwards. So with that being said, we know that when this hit happens, it is going to be on a 1 scaled shield, right? So we can judge that, and then now as long as I can eventually actually hit the character. So what we did here is we used this number 684 and any other blue number 328, and then you can start to see that it pierces through at that point, and then you start seeing the random crit damages, the Guardian Stone numbers. All right, so this is the magical numbers here. So at 1 stack, we did in 2 separate instances that the damage came out to 1617. So the 684 that you saw, let me just back it up for transparency reason, because I don't want to show too much of this again. It's not as much as whether or not, so the 684, right? And you're thinking 684, where's the 605 come from? And where's the 328? We saw that too, right? So just to show you how thorough we are, this is the 684, then the second slice here, breaks 328, and then goes into that damage. It's only 3 hits, when Rudley auto attacks you, it's 3 hits. So you could say that this is the burst through. That damage there, not that damage, Jesus Christ. You guys know that it does that, the 1040, and then the follow-up damage of, oh god, can you fix it? 2054 is burst. Not burst, but it's through the shield, right? So the number that comes there before is actually from Baraka, and it comes right here. Now what happened here, you could see 605. I can zoom it in. Now as I said, when the wrath counter hits, so when Baraka attacked her and then she retaliates, he retaliates, but it doesn't add an additional stack. So we know for a fact that the 605 is on that barrier shield, it's still going to stay there. So when we did it a second time, which is later on down here, it was the same experiment and we got the same exact number. So we know for a fact that one stack on this FC Rara is 1617. And then again, I could show you guys this, but I think it's just easier just to tell you that when we did it with 2 stacks, we did a different experiment. We did use different characters. Now I'm using Jin, I'm using Baraka, and I'm using Bernadette. We have Jin go first, then Baraka, and then hopefully, we were hoping that we'd get Bernadette that can burst through it with her S2. We did get that exact thing to happen. So what happens is that at 2 stacks, it doubles, which is how it should work. That is literally how Dragon scale should work. If we read this in this long, slow awaitingness, when it comes down to is scaling off of 50% of attack pretty much or whatever, and then Dragon scale for each 100% of defense for each one, 100%, 200%, 300%, each stack that you get. So obviously if there were multiple characters, it'd be a lot more hell to calculate this. But luckily, not only do we have that Dragon Blood stacks only go up to 7 per character, so it's very easy to see that that's how it works. So we were able to see that one stack, once we figured out what one stack is, technically we could have just multiplied it and by 2, 3, 4, 5 times, which will come a little bit relevant in a couple seconds. But now that we saw that 2 stacks as well, 32, 34. So all of that being said, we needed to then be able to conduct an experiment in which we can get one of these defense break characters to come in, find out how many defense break them obviously, and then find out how many stacks they were at and see if it was actually less than what it should have been. Now that is going to be hard. Oh, that was some hard stuff, man. It took us a while to actually get that exact moment. We finally got a situation where we got a defense break. We got Pan's defense break. You guys can see my team here: Pan, Terrera, Emma, Anna, and Bernadette. So we actually get Pan's defense break, which is relatively weak. It's a very weak defense break that he has because it's AoE, but I wanted to have the chance to get at least 2 of them. And once I did get that, eventually Anna is the only one left. Now with Anna being the only one left, she does her S3, it happens to crit and it pierces through the shield. So every number that pops up during this, so we have it zoomed in to see the numbers. So 269, 538, 807, 1077, 1346. Just to be transparent, those are the same numbers that we have here. The last number that we see before we see a crit, knowing that that's how this number even came out, boom, the critical hit, we recorded all those numbers, and that lets us know how thick the shield is. We have proof that the number, when it goes over, it breaks through. So we know with how strong the shield is because we did it with Rudley. So the numbers that go after, once the blue numbers disappear, we know that that means that that's the end of that shield. So that's how we know. So this break here was at 6 to 7 stacks. We were kind of confused at the moment, like whether or not it was 6 or 7 stats, but no matter which way you do the math, as you can see here, at 7 stats, the shield, based on the math that we've already done, it's 17 times 7 would have been 11,000 shield, and 17 times 6 would have been 9,702. So either or, whatever one floats your boat. You would see that the number is not 8482. Now this was through a lot of attacks, so like I said, we wanted to be thorough to make sure that we had the right number. But if you actually look through it and count all the attacks we counted, I don't want to show every single auto attack to prove it to you guys. I'm sorry, it's just a waste of time. It does show that defense breaking does work. It now works because it didn't work before when we tested it a month ago. So now it works. So now all we need to do is figure out characters that are going to be able to do that. But also you can theoretically see here that that amount of damage mitigation is not that great. It wasn't that great, but it was from a defense breaking character that wasn't that strong. Let's go in game and let's look at the characters that can defense break. And I brought this up before. I'm gonna go to the journal first. All right, so let's first start off with the defense breaking capabilities of the faded characters. Of course, first you have Rachel. He's pretty much the poster child for it with his passive. Pan was the one that I used. He has a very low, as you can see, 14% of his own defense will break through, so it's kind of like a but it is AoE. She has a really good one. It's very easy to access, and it's 45% of her defense, which is pretty good. She has Ugh, I'm just kidding. I mean, she still has pretty bad defense, but it's a pretty high amount of it, so it does work really good. Last but not least, this guy that you'll probably never use, but I happen to find that yes, he has a defense break as well. Now, if we go into FC territory, before we go to the most obvious one, I know you guys are like, oh, what about? Yes, I know. I do want to mention that Mahar, FC Mahar, is ridiculously one of the best FC variants outside of the Banga. Yes, I know, we'll touch on the Banga in a second. One of the highest defense, I think, in the game as a faded hero, and single target, 3 mana, machine, kind of easy to get, especially if you run him with any of the generals that breath of mana. I think the one that gives mana to the front row would very easily access this. I think that when it comes down to the solo stuff, which is what we're going to be talking about, the other characters are not too much viable outside of Rachel for doing it on a solo way. Rachel's going to be your best bet. Pan and Terraria, or you're going to have a lot of trouble because of like they need mana, a decent amount of mana to do it, and then at that point the stacks are too high. So if you're looking for a more viable way of doing it, especially against solo Dragon Blood, it's definitely going to be Mahar. This FC has a really easy time getting a defense break, and a fat one at that. So before I go into Banga, I just wanted to show you guys. I know you guys shit on Mahar all day. I mean, it's like the fat trend, but he does have very high base defense. 1647. Look at your boy Ulum, 1649. They're just as high as each other, pretty much about the same HP. They just do slightly different things. But just with that alone, with that actual skin, would skyrocket, because the skin will obviously give them more stats. And yeah, it's very strong. And I just wanted to mention that as another option. But let's obviously go with the cat in the hat, or the elephant in the room, the Banga family. Now the Banga family has the Heart Strike ability, and you guys know how it works. The character with the highest HP in the beginning of the fight is gonna get Heart Striked. Then all they have to do is get strict one more time, and then they're gonna lose 1,000 defense. And then if they get strict one more time, attacked one more time, then they'll end up being blind, and then that character is pretty much useless for the rest of the match because it's a passive and it can't really be cleansed or interacted with in pretty much any way. Now what's really cool about that is actually has nothing to do with Jin. At least I don't think that his brand passive thing really helps out really too much of it. It's cool, but this guy specifically is one of the most demonic things I've ever seen when it comes to that. One, he's nature, right? But he also has this 4 mana AoE, so he can pretty much, wherever your stupid character is, wherever your person that has Heart Strike is, he pretty much can make sure that they get hit, you know, especially if it happens to be in the back, which is unlikely. But he poisons them and it will tick. The poison ticks will tick the Heart Strike, and then GG. Also, while he's doing that, he's increasing blocks, so the Wrath counters back on your team won't do too much, and he's increasing attack, which now we know the Wrath will do more damage with that as well. So he's really strong. I think that now that the banners for the Banga are out, if you've been having trouble and maybe you don't give a damn about the summer event, maybe it's time that you just go on the string for the hamsters. Another one that I really wanted to note were the Morris and Adams. Reason being is, as I mentioned in the last video, I mentioned in the last video about how thrust and counter work, that you can pretty much force an interaction with a Dragon Blood with it. So even, especially if they're solo, they get the Heart Strike 1 when they go in there, you attack them, right? Then they Wrath Strike you and you counter back. They're already at level 3 at that point. They're pretty much screwed. As long as you can do that, you can probably actually have one of these guys solo them. I thought I should mention that. Morris or Adams would theoretically be able to solo a Dragon Blood as long as that they don't take too much damage from the initial Wrath hit. They should solo them because they'll pretty much be able to get their Heart Strike up very quickly. But in the essence that maybe your skills or your gear is not that strong, as long as you get to that strike 2, let's say if you wanted to run a decent little comp, you wanted to run to that strike 2, once that defense gets down, you are at a significant advantage. I think it's better in tag if you wanted to have one dedicated thing for solo units, but keep in mind you will end up losing if you have solo Adams or solo Morris and then you fight against a team comp that doesn't have a solo Dragon Blood unit. It's kind of better to just team them up with a couple units. I think a 3-man team or a 4-man team would just do fine. You can also just do a 5-man team. Just include them in there and just force them to attack the Dragon Blood unit. I mean, not force, it's a solo, they're gonna attack them anyway. Last but not least, again, I don't want to spend too much time. I'm already 32 minutes into recording this, but I just want to be quick and I want to be brief. Now, we were testing the Wrath counter as well. We was like, well, since we're already here, let's do Wrath. Let's do Wrath and see, you know, if attack break works. Of course it does. It does. Duh, it does. So when we were testing here, oh wait, yeah, there's a landscaper. So if there's any additional noise in the background, I do apologize. That's why I'm trying to hurry up. You guys have no idea the struggles, man. Yeah, I don't know the struggles, bro. You don't know the struggles. So I'm gonna try to talk through it. If it's too loud when I record it, I'm just gonna put up a screen, a black screen with text on it, so you guys know why. So pretty much, if you check out here, when Emma first got hit with a six stack wrath counter, it did 6,479 damage. Then when she was attack broken by Emma herself, it went down to 4,477. That actually went down a decent amount. It's a 2,000 difference from Emma's attack break, just so you guys get a clear picture. All right, so let's go from the bottom because I'm already down here. Where's the boy? There he is. Ulrich has a attack break in his kit. Yeah, you're not using that. I don't know why I even bothered to mention it. Fergie has the AoE one, 19% of her attack. Obelia is the one I think is literally the best because she provides a lot for your own Dragon Blood units. She has a defense buff, as we saw, will make your dragon scales stronger and remove status effects, which is awesome. Status effects and debuffs are not the same thing, but it's still pretty good that she can remove provokes and things of that nature. And she also has an AoE attack break, so she's going to be really good. Also with a cleanse to take over damage over time and debuff effects from your team and gain 1 mana and stuff like that. So she's going to be really, really strong in the upcoming meta if this debuff stuff gets stronger. And then we're gonna go all the way back up to Valar, which his weird executioner thing with Garth is just, it's kind of strange, but it's the whole thing of all other targets with the executioner mark lose 20% of their attack if the target marked with executioner dies. Really weird thing how you get the executioner. Pretty much you have to kill, you know, a target, the target gains. It's a little weird, but it's not that bad, but it's, I do have to mention it as a form of doing things that you can actually do it that way. And last but not least, obviously, would be Emma herself as the last one. Now we do know the Banga has the blind aspect of it, which I don't know if you can cleanse. I haven't been able to test that, and that's about it. I think when we went over Ice Shower and things of that nature, we went through all the characters that have like attack buffs and things of that nature, so I'm not going to go through too much of that because I think defined, and I'm also obviously not showing you every defense buffing character either, because I really wanted to see like how you can affect the opponent more or less. If you could affect them, you can obviously boost your own defenses, boost your own attack. If you want higher wrath damage, get attack. That's why I think, and I was saying before, that the Summer Blessing characters are going to synergize very well with Dragon Bloods in many ways, more than one, because it's also going to trigger the Ice Shower. It's also going to give them attack if any type of ice character hits them. And it's really cool to see a little bit more synergies into the game, more strategies. The meta is coming, but I'm interested to see how the meta arrives into the game. What did you guys think? Do you think that it's viable? Is there a little bit more, I don't know, like a little bit more spice in your wheel? I don't freaking know. Are you comfortable enough with these balances to build any of the characters mentioned? Do you think that, well, now I'll definitely go summon on that string to get me a Banga character so I can counter it? You know, like, I wonder if you guys feel that comfortable, because the stats show that, you know, if you have a very good high defense character with a defense break, you will break through those shields. I mean, as you can see, you still don't want to make the Dragon Blood stacks that high, but we also know that you can reset them. There are ways to stop attacking and reset the Dragon Blood passive, so then they still have a defense break and then they're getting crappy shields. And as you see in Rachel's case, you might even be able to instantaneously blow them up. Rachel's popularity should be going up higher, even though he was always a good character, but I think his popularity should be skyrocketing a little bit more now. I gotta edit this bad boy down. Hopefully it's not too long. I do apologize if it is, but hopefully you guys enjoyed enough that you want to like, comment, and subscribe to the boy when we do all these crazy little math breakdowns. And yeah, just remember that every day at the casino is your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.